Tonight, we analyze one of the most aggressive anti-drug campaigns in recent U.S. history. President Donald Trump has publicly vowed to target anyone smuggling narcotics into America. He claims a 96% interception rate for maritime shipments. But what does this really mean for Venezuela, the Caribbean, and American communities? How does this operation redefine the modern war on drugs? The recent attack on a Venezuelan drug-laden vessel in the Caribbean highlights the seriousness of this campaign. The target was the Tren de Aragua cartel, a group with alleged links to Nicolas Maduro's government. 11 cartel members were killed, with no American casualties reported. Pentagon footage of the strike was publicly released, emphasizing transparency and the scale of enforcement. Trump has framed this operation as a direct message to drug traffickers worldwide. Smuggling into the United States will carry severe consequences. The administration underscores that these operations are aimed at criminals, not the Venezuelan government itself. However, geopolitical tensions inevitably rise when military action intersects with foreign nations. U.S.-Venezuela relations have been tense for decades. Cocaine and other narcotics have long flowed from South America through the Caribbean to the United States. Prior U.S. administrations tried various strategies, including diplomacy, economic sanctions, and targeted military strikes, often with limited success. The Trump administration's approach is more aggressive, emphasizing immediate action and high visibility. The land-based operations anticipated by the U.S. further extend the scope of the campaign. These missions aim to disrupt drug production at its source and dismantle trafficking networks before they reach international waters. Enforcement officials emphasize the importance of protecting American citizens, especially children and vulnerable communities, from the dangers of illicit drugs. International reactions are mixed. Allies in the region cautiously support U.S. efforts to target criminal organizations, while critics warn that such operations may escalate tensions with Venezuela and other South American nations. Human rights observers monitor the operations closely, noting that precision and accountability are crucial to prevent collateral damage. Domestically, reactions are divided. Conservatives applaud the administration's assertive stance, framing it as a necessary defense of American communities. Liberals express concern over potential escalation, questioning the long-term effectiveness of military interventions in stopping drug trafficking. Moderates focus on balancing immediate enforcement with sustainable solutions, including regional cooperation and social programs. The geopolitical landscape is complex. Venezuelan officials may respond strategically, both politically and militarily. Cartels are adaptable and may shift routes or methods in response to U.S. operations. This cat-and-mouse dynamic underscores the difficulty of maintaining long-term disruption in international drug trade networks. Economic impacts are significant. Interceptions and attacks on trafficking operations can temporarily raise drug prices in U.S. markets. However, trafficking organizations may respond with innovation, including alternative routes and increased sophistication. Venezuelan resources, including oil revenues, may be indirectly affected, adding layers of economic and political complexity. The social consequences of the anti-drug campaign are also notable. American communities may experience reduced drug availability and enhanced safety in targeted areas. However, militarized approaches may risk escalating violence in Latin America, indirectly impacting neighboring countries and migration patterns. Trump's messaging emphasizes accountability. He frames the campaign as a warning not only to cartels, but also to state actors indirectly supporting trafficking networks. By publicly releasing evidence of strikes, the administration seeks to demonstrate operational success and deterrence. This campaign is part of a broader strategy connecting domestic safety with international enforcement. The administration argues that drug-related violence abroad has direct consequences at home. By intercepting shipments and targeting key cartel figures, the U.S. aims to disrupt the flow of narcotics before they reach American streets. The operation in the Caribbean is emblematic of the high stakes involved. Precision strikes, intelligence sharing, and military coordination are central to the campaign. Analysts emphasize that success depends on ongoing vigilance, rapid adaptation, and sustained international cooperation. Trump's approach also has political implications. Demonstrating toughness on crime and international threats resonates with his domestic base. Critics, however, suggest that such operations risk entangling the U.S. in foreign conflicts without clear exit strategies. The human dimension is equally important. Lives are at stake, both in the U.S. and abroad. Drug-related violence, trafficking, and cartel activities have tangible impacts on communities. Effective policy requires balancing enforcement with humanitarian considerations, ensuring that innocent civilians are protected while criminal networks are dismantled. Historical context provides insight. U.S. anti-drug campaigns have evolved over decades, from the war on drugs of the 1980s to more targeted, intelligence-driven operations today. Previous efforts often relied heavily on domestic law enforcement and bilateral cooperation with Latin American nations. The current approach represents a hybrid of direct military action, sanctions, and public messaging. Media coverage shapes perception. Detailed reporting of operations, such as the Venezuelan maritime strike, influences public opinion, political debate, and international response. Transparency and accuracy are essential to maintain credibility and justify strategic choices. Looking forward, the campaign raises key questions. Can these operations sustainably reduce drug flow to the U.S.? How will cartels adapt to increasing pressure? What role will regional partners play in mitigating risks and supporting enforcement efforts? The Trump administration asserts that deterrence is a primary goal. By signaling consequences clearly and visibly, the U.S. hopes to prevent future trafficking attempts. The challenge remains, balancing aggressive action with long-term strategy and minimizing unintended consequences. Finally, this campaign reflects broader themes in U.S. foreign policy. Using military and intelligence tools to address transnational criminal threats, protecting domestic populations, and navigating complex geopolitical landscapes. The war on drugs is not merely domestic, it is deeply international, requiring coordination, strategy, and vigilance. In conclusion, President Trump's anti-drug operations against Venezuela are bold, high stakes, and multifaceted. They combine military action, strategic messaging, and international coordination to address one of the most persistent challenges facing the United States. The implications, political, economic, social, and humanitarian, will continue to unfold. Stakeholders worldwide are watching closely, and the results of this campaign will have long-lasting consequences for the U.S., Venezuela, and global narcotics enforcement efforts.